Hey guys, how you doing? Long time no see. It is I, C, the one who loves the drama, and I have not made a video in a minute. Super glad to see that some of you are still here working with me. I don't recall how many subscribers I had when I made the episode recapping episode 7, which was the last new video I made. But at this point, I have 25 of you guys who have committed to seeing this journey through with me, and I am grateful for every single one of you. I absolutely love the comments that I've gotten thus far. I don't respond to them nearly as quickly as I should or as I will in the future, but I appreciate every single one of them. And one of the comments that I received asked if I had given up on this channel or if life was doing what life does. And I have to admit that life has been lifing pretty dang hard. Life has been lifing me about my head, neck, and shoulders. But if you are at all conscious of what's going on in the world, whether we're talking about the politics of what's happening in the United States, what's happening with inflation, or just the general sense and vibe of how hard it is to be a good person, trying to be a good person in America right now, I know you know exactly how I feel. And rather than that bumming me out, it makes me feel like I am a part of a collective, and that makes me feel better about what's going on. So I appreciate you for your patience and for your ability to understand that it's not always easy to do the things that make us happy, because it's just really hard to live and be alive right now. So happy that you're back to join me though. For those of you who are not subscribers, but perhaps new visitors to the channel or people who watch what I do, but don't necessarily feel the need to subscribe, I want you to know that your presence is also totally welcome. And it's because of people like you who care enough about these videos to continue to watch, even though it takes me a small lifetime to make new videos, that I have decided to come up out of my funk and actually get some work done. This is a slightly different video than the ones I've done before. Those are recaps. This is not a recap. It is a short that I am making to talk about some of the finer details that I see in this show that I'm still obsessively watching, even though I've seen it in full at least 20 times by now. I'm always seeing something that I like. I'm always seeing something that I want to chatter about. The whole point of this channel is to be as detailed and involved about this series and about the Chinese dramas that I plan and intend to cover as I want to be. So I have been promising in the various videos that I've put out thus far that I would make these shorter videos covering details, and lo and behold, I am actually going to get it done today. If you are interested in a full recap of episode 1, 2, or 3, I already have a video that covers that. I'm going to do my best to link those 3 videos here. But to be honest, I don't really know how to do that, and there's a high chance that I will not try before I put this video up. So if I don't, go to my channel. There's a whole playlist. I think I have 7 videos on it at this point. I'm working heavily on 8 to get it out to you soon, but there is a recap available. And I really hope you go and watch all of the videos I've made thus far and comment and tell me whether you liked it or not, or if there are any questions that I had that you are capable of answering. It would be most appreciated. So with that said, let's get it started. My first short video, I'm actually going to go ahead and cover episodes 1, 2, and 3 because we're already 7 episodes in, and I just want to get this information out so I can move forward with episode 8, which I can't say enough will be coming soon. Because I'm covering 3 videos though, it actually probably won't be all that short a video. Please don't hold it against me. The first short video was probably never going to be short anyway because I am naturally verbose. One of the other issues that makes it harder to make individual short videos is that some of the things I want to talk about actually span several episodes, and I need to be able to cover multiple episodes in order to talk about the matter fully. So in the future, if there is something in a particular episode that I want to discuss in a short that does not resolve itself until multiple episodes have gone by, you will get more of these combination short videos. Okay. Now that I've said all that, let's actually get started with talking about the first issue that I want to discuss, which starts in episode 1, but doesn't really resolve itself until episode 3. And if I'm being perfectly honest, there are some points that don't, completely resolve until episode 5, but we're going to keep it to 1, 2, and 3 for this video. One of the things that I like about Royal Feast is, although it is a historical palace drama, it is a relatively light TV show. There's definitely going to be scheming going on from beginning to end, with either palace maids, palace servants trying to advance their position. We'll get a little bit of royals working against other royals, and you'll also see, of course, concubines, court ladies, things like that working against each other to get favor from the person who is in charge. But even though you see all of that in Royal Feast, it is definitely not as intense and nowhere near as deadly as some of the other dramas that I hope to talk about in the future. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this is no Ruyi's Royal Love. You're definitely going to be able to watch this and you won't feel all that bummed out about what's going on in the show. But having said that, we do end up getting a scheme in the first 5 minutes of the show, and I just want to talk about that a little bit more than I did in the recap of episode 1. So the first scheme really has to do with people in Imperial Food Services working against each other. So Matron Mung is the head of food services, and it's not really discussed in great detail, but it seems like at the beginning of the show, she is expected to retire in a short amount of time and return to her hometown. Underneath the matron position, there are 4 directresses, and we find out that one of them has already retired. The other 2 are Directress Hu and Directress Wang, who play heavily within the rest of the show. And then you have the lady that we see in the first couple minutes. I said in the first episode, I don't remember her name because she doesn't stick around for long enough, but it is actually Jiang Wan Ying. I thought she was a manager. Turns out she is a directress. And so what we see is Matron Mung and her underlings are serving lunch to the crown prince. And in one of the entrees, there is something added that ends up hurting the crown prince. I'm not sure if it's a bone, but he crunches into it, and that creates a big problem. Apparently, that is a severe mistake by food services and something that ordinarily Matron Mung might be punished heavily for. Since she's the one running the entire ship, she's the one who's going to ultimately be held responsible when mistakes like these occur. So, turns out that Jiang Wan Ying is in competition with the other directresses to see who can take over Matron Mung's position when Matron Mung retires. And so she is the one who introduced this dangerous element to the food and caused pain to the crown prince. And then she uses the opportunity to act like she is a loyal person to Matron Mung to suggest further that she should be the one who takes the position. It also seems like there have been various people, they don't talk about it in any detail, but Crown Princess Zhang mentions that other people have come to her and said that she is the person who should take the job as well. So, done. And Crown Princess Zhang does not like it. They don't really get into detail why, but I think it's mostly because she was willing to risk hurting the crown prince in order to get her promotion that she ends up punishing this lady severely. So she's given 50 lashes and she is kicked out of the palace. Matron Mung's retirement comes up again in episode 2 during a conversation between Directress Wang and Directress Hu. Directress Hu wants to sign and present a petition to, I believe, the Crown Princess to stop Matron Mung from retiring. And Directress Wang wants nothing to do with it because she says she doesn't want to fawn over the higher ups. This is also confusing because the modern understanding of retirement is that it's something that a person typically chooses themselves. If you're not retiring under your own will, you're usually being fired or forced out of the company, and they don't make that seem like that's what's going on. So why would Directress Hu be trying to stop Matron Mung's retirement through the Crown Princess if it was something Matron Mung wanted to do? I find it pretty interesting because one of the things I've done, just the slightest bit of research at this time, and I'm not going to say that this is entirely accurate because it's very difficult to find research material about ancient Chinese dynasties that have been translated into English. But my understanding is that only in the Han Dynasty and the Qing Dynasty were palace servants, female palace servants to be specific, given an opportunity to retire and leave the imperial palace. This touches on something that I said in my recap of episode 3, where I stated that I thought that the female servants in the palace were enslaved, but I wasn't sure. This comes in part from constantly hearing them referred to as no bi and no sai. Typically, that is translated either as servant or slave, depending on the context, and I'm not sure which one of those is actually true. But I did receive a comment from a subscriber, A Online Abridged, and I will put the comment here, but I'll also go ahead and read it. A Online Abridged says, "They are not all slaves. Those servants usually only got to do the most uncomfortable and hard jobs like cleaning chamber pots, sweeping and shoveling, construction, etc. And they were mostly kept out of the view of the higher ups. For the other servants that go in voluntarily or are encouraged by family, working at the Forbidden City is the chance of a lifetime, a great honor, and their best opportunity for social climbing for them and by extension their family. The most infamous examples, of course, being the maids entering the emperor's harem, Ahem, consort Ling. Of course, there are also the cases where a family is required to send in an offspring and they would rather not, but at least in the dramas, this is always because said families don't have a spare." And that lines up with some of the information that I've sort of looked into now that I've done a little research since posting some of these videos. It makes the question of matron Meng's retirement even more questionable to me, because for the most part, getting into the palace is seen as a major upgrade on the kind of life and lifestyle a person is able to have, and being sent home from service was generally considered to be a mark of extreme embarrassment. From what I understand, the women or court ladies who worked as maids and servants were also considered the emperor's women, and they had to stay in the palace for the rest of their lives for the vast majority of imperial history. Once a person got too old to work, there were certain locations that were specifically assigned to house them until they died. Many of them didn't live the best of lives because, of course, they didn't necessarily have resources to take care of themselves. And because they were no longer working, they didn't have opportunities to gain favor or be rewarded by people who did have the resources. So it was kind of a tough life after you retired. So I'm curious if any of you viewers know more or have more definitive research on this issue. Could the women who worked in the imperial palaces retire? Could they go home? Or were they required to stay within the palace for the rest of their lifetime? If you know, please drop a comment. It would be greatly appreciated. So that concludes my first short video regarding Royal Feast. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope somebody has some answers for the questions that I have about what we've talked about so far and the ones that will be forthcoming. Episode 8 should be up by next Friday. I'm not going to give that a specific date because who knows when you're watching this, but that is one of my most favorite episodes. I have a ton of stuff to say about it, so I hope you will join me. And yeah, I guess this also serves as a channel update. I am inconsistent as all get out, but I am also delusional and determined, and I will finish this recap of Royal Feast, or die trying. Anyway, hope you're having a great day. I'm, here. I'm doing it. I'll see you soon.